Hello, you are listening to CV, and I'm Entisar Daham. Our guest today is a man full of humanity in both his professional and personal life sphere. Even in terms of hobbies, he is an artist with experience, and he is making a short film, and he is a theater director. We are talking about Dr. Karim Ghanim, who immigrated from Iraq in 1996, where he left imprint in his work and achieved a great success here in Perth. Let's get closer to him and know more about his CV. Hello, Dr. Karim, and we are happy to have you here today.
That's very kind of you. Thanks very much for having me. And thanks very much for all those people who's listening to this interview.
Thank you. And Doctor, how did you make your decision and why decision to immigrate to Australia?
Well, I left Iraq in 1996, and the decision was not made by choice, but because of the deterioration in the political situation there, I've been forced to leave my home. But it was at the end of the day, it was the best decision that I have made.
Yeah, you didn't regret,
No, I wouldn't look back.
Yeah, that's great. Can you tell us about your journey and how it was? Is it difficult?
Well, I left Iraq in '96, and then I went to Jordan. From there, I went to Yemen, where I worked for a few months as a doctor in the countryside. And I came to Australia as a refugee, and it was a very welcoming country at that time. And that's how I ended here.
Then can you tell us about your professional specialization? And as we know, you may manage to find foothold here in Australia, and you are a migrant, and this is a country that's strange for you.
Well, that's actually related to many factors. Factor related to our education back in Iraq, which is all medical, is all in English, and that make it easy to incorporate into the medical societies in Australia. But the main thing that in this country there is well set up a system governed by the Australian Medical Council, which aim to test competency and quality of any of the professional medical personnel who came into Australia through a series of tests. So in a way, it is lucky to come to a country where you already find that there is a path that once you follow, and there is certain obstacles when you pass, then you will be qualified. And that's how doctors are who came in from overseas to Australia. We are lucky.
Sure, you are lucky. And sure, you facing difficulties. And what is the difficulties you are overcome?
Well, in moving from any different culture, it's a shock for anyone. Because this country is so welcoming, it was quite not as bad as I would say for different countries, let's say. There was a few obstacles, and mainly how to get into the medical field. there was a few tests that I have to pass, which I did. Then to get into surgery, it's another process. It's as well set by the College of Surgeons. And because I came in as a junior doctor, so in a way it was actually lucky that I set all my training here in Australia, so there wasn't much time wasted. I started working in Royal Perth Hospital in '99, and I get into training in surgery in 2001. So overall, it's the process was actually very not, I wouldn't call it easy, but I wouldn't call it impossible, because the system is already there, and all what you have to do is to follow a few steps to become qualified as a surgeon.
Yeah. Okay. Then, did you achieve your dream?
I think so. I always thought that I should be a surgeon, and that's my plan even when I was a medical student in Iraq. And when I came here, and initially when I applied to training in surgery, it took me 3 times to get into training program. At some stage I thought that if I'm not going to get into training program in Australia, I will actually take my bags and move somewhere else. And in fact that I start the process as a plan B, and I did the English surgical exams, the FRCS, in case that if I won't be able to get into surgery here, I'll move to England to do that. So since 2009, I've become a consultant surgeon, and I'm actually very happy.
Yeah. Do you know, I ask you this question because I know that you are like art, and you are a director, theater director, and you did short films. That's why I told you, did you achieve your... And then the question is, how do you see yourself today, and about between, the art and the medicine?
I always have fascinated by cinema in particular, and grew up in a town in the south of Iraq where there is a massive culture in terms of literature, in terms of art, and in terms of and there was in my childhood there was about 5 cinemas in Nasiriyah in south of Iraq. And before I went to school, I was going to the cinemas, and it's always been fascinating me to know the art of making movies. And once I settled here, and once I established myself as a surgeon, I actually thought about studying cinema and filmmaking, and I went into one of the TAFE here, one of the schools of media, and I did the courses of filmmaking. It is a different field, and completely has its own complexities and challenges, and that's probably what attracted me most to it.
Yeah, and also because you are Iraqi, I think that's the daily chart of Iraq is talking about poem and movies and like that.
It's very common. So cinemas in Baghdad, it's everywhere, and it's a culture.
Then what laws are related to your professional as a doctor, and you'd like to change or...
Well, see, because the system in Australia is all well set, you find it is not much you can actually change or to improve. Probably the AMC, which is Australian Medical Council, which oversees the qualification of any overseas doctors, their involvement in the process is mainly at the level of exams and testing, which probably I would prefer if they have more holistic approach. So just not just rather than testing people and give them the ticket, but take them on board and look at all their needs and pretty much like a rehabilitation and training to the new country rather than just testing for medical knowledge. Even find them a job. So that will be probably what I would actually like to see Australian Medical Council does to the new comer to Australia from medical background.
Then we'll back to your hobbies, and as we know that you did short films and also you directed some player.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about this experience?
You see, there is a lot of similarities between surgery and drama. Surgery itself is a drama. And the surgeon pretty much like a leader in a field, battlefield, and you have to direct all those people and bring them to their potentials. And that's probably the job as well of a director in a movie. So you see all those people around you and they're all full of energy and full of talent, and you want to bring all this talent and energy out of them and to give it to the profession of making movies. I find that is very close and satisfying in a way. It's not as straightforward as making or like operating on the people. Making movies is very difficult.
It is more difficult.
It is more difficult. It is more complicated. Probably because it's a creative process. It is surgery. Yes, it's a creative process, but it won't be as creative and satisfying as making the movies. And that's where movie making is. It's a complicated issue.
Yeah, I think it's strange, the relation between the medicine and then the art and also the movies. Even Mr. As Arabic countries and the Middle East, they're from Egypt, Dr. Yahya Al-Fakhrani, and he's now a famous actor, and also Azat Abu Auf, they are.
Yeah. There's a lot of doctors, they're going into medicine, going into art.
Then maybe we'll...
Well, see, art in itself, art is life in its perfect way. And in medicine, perfection is what we aim for, because we are dealing with people, we are dealing with their life, and we want to be as perfect as possible. Art is... When you see something so well done, you say, "What's an art?" Okay, so that's art, and surgery is part of life where we try to be as artistic as possible.
And this question, but what I heard that you leave that you're professional now, and maybe will be. Just for art. I hear that. I thought it is rumor or it is.
I wish I can do that. Certainly, that I have passion for surgery, so I can't see myself leaving surgery completely. But to a certain degree, the making movies is a challenge. It's a great challenge and stimulating at all levels, creativity in particular. So I wish that one day I'll be more into filmmaking than doing operations. Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's gonna ever happen.
We hope, and this is benefit for us as working as in the media.
Yeah.
And what advice you give to that immigrant people, to to success in their life here in Australia, or any immigrant people?
I think the main thing for any migrant people to a new country is to believe in yourself and embrace the good value in this society. There is a great values in this society, and if you want to integrate, you have to embrace that these have to take them up, and you have to believe in them and to believe in yourself. It won't be an easy journey, but it's worth it.
But don't agree with me that the people from Middle East, especially the Arabic people, you know, they isolate themselves and they make their own
Ghetto.
Yeah.
Well, they do. That's not only from the Middle East. And if you think of Australian, there's a lot of people who live in their own communities. Italian, for example. The Chinese. It's a normal reaction because we always like to gather towards something that unify us, okay, and easy for us. So, for example, if you're flying with different people on a plane and you hear someone speaking Arabic, you'll be more attracted to them than someone who speaks the language that you don't talk to or you don't speak. So it's a natural tendency. But at the same time, life is better when you explore. So when you come into a new society, this is a new opportunity. This is a new project. You have to think of it as a new project, and you have to explore. And it's not going to be exploring just the society or the environment, but you explore yourself. You explore all the potentials inside you to give more and to push yourself beyond the limit. So this is my approach, and this is probably the advice that I would give to any new migrant.
Oh, well, thank you. And the time is running fast with you. And thank you to have you today.
Thanks very much for having me, and it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, and see you soon.